when Mark creates a character for you. That's really a way Mark honors you, and I felt very honored when Mark made me part of his town. My doll, I believe he's a British commando. I think it's a handsome doll myself. There's always something going on in Marwencol. There's always danger. There's always the SS trying to attack. I've taken place in many battles, and we usually come out on top.
Everybody at one time or another wishes they had a double that could do the things that they could never do. So what I do is, with alter egos, I tell my friends, you can be anybody you want, you can do anything you want in my town. Have as many girls as you want. I only have 27 Barbies, so we gotta keep enough for the other dudes.
Documentaries can do two things exceptionally well. They can deal with mammoth subjects like the Civil War, the economic meltdown, or our nation's school system, and they can provide incredibly intimate portraits of individuals, allowing viewers to travel deep inside their minds and lives. An excellent example of the latter is the award-winning new documentary Marwencol, about a man named Mark Hogancamp who was the victim of a savage attack outside a bar in New York State that left him so severely brain damaged that his memory was erased and he had to relearn to walk, write, and feed himself. But when America's awesome, best-in-the-world healthcare system abandoned him because he could no longer afford his treatment or therapy, Mark invented his own unique form of therapy by creating an incredibly detailed, 1/6 scale World War II-era Belgian town in his backyard that he named Marwencol and populated with dolls representing himself and the people in his life. Sound pretty amazing? Trust me, you don't know the half of it. Before the attack, Mark was known as a talented artist and a pretty nice guy, that is, when he wasn't a raging drunk. But with his memory erased, his alcoholism went with it, along with everything else, including memories of his former wife, who he only knows from photos and video of their wedding. It's through Marwencol that Mark can make up for the world of his lost memories by creating another world with his imagination, which he does in amazing detail. And it's through working on these fine details, like decorating the bar Mark's doll alter ego runs, or painting makeup on a female doll's face, that Mark can work on his motor skills, the kind of thing a physical therapist should have been helping him with. And instead of memories of his friends, family, and coworkers, Mark uses dolls that resemble them to create new stories and memories with them in Marwencol. One of the more touching parts in the film is seeing how honored these people feel to be made characters in Mark's world, to be more involved in Mark's life, and to have a chance to live an exciting, double, albeit miniature life. Marwencol is also a place where Mark can feel safe, since the attack has left him fearful of strangers in crowded places. As mayor of Marwencol, the main rule that Mark has designated is that all Marwencol's citizens have to be cool with each other. So while Marwencol has the typical kind of drama one might expect in a small town, none of the American, German, or French soldiers who call Marwencol home are at war with each other, creating a haven amidst the insanity of World War II, as well as from the real world outside Mark's backyard. The town's true enemies are the SS, who also symbolize Mark's attackers, and by defending the town against them, Mark is able to act out the anger he feels towards the people who stole his life. Marwencol is a living town, not some static diorama, with cinematic storylines full of romance, drama, action, and intrigue, often with a Tarantino-esque flair for violence and sex, which Mark captures in beautifully composed photographs. The story takes a turn when a photographer befriends Mark, puts some of his photos in a magazine, and eventually convinces Mark to have a show of his work in New York City, a move that concerns everyone should the stress of such an undertaking and the idea of sharing Mark's private world with so many people prove too much for him and his still fragile mind. This is made even more difficult with the revelation of an artifact from Mark's previous personality that survived the attack and also explains what caused it, which is so surprising that I'm not going to reveal what it is. While much of Marwencol is inspiring and uplifting, director Jeff Malmberg is careful to show that Mark undeniably suffers from serious mental illness, and while the therapy he created has allowed him to deal with many obstacles, he may never completely overcome them, and they sometimes express themselves in ways that are disturbing and even a little scary. But that's Mark's reality, and it all adds to the richness of this truly extraordinary film, which goes to the heart of the fragility, power, and limitless beauty of the human mind. I'm Jonathan Kim, and this is a ReThink Review.